तो उन्होंने अपने अंदर जो इंटरनल क्रू रोस्टरिंग मैनेजमेंट का जो है उसमें गड़बड़ी करी, उसके वजह से एक टम्बलिंग ब्लॉक की तरह ऑपरेशंस 3rd को 4th को 5th को हमने जो कैंसिलेशंस देखे या डिलेज एट एयरपोर्ट्स देखे वो सब देखने को मिला। तो डेफिनेटली द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई वुड वांट टू मेक इट वेरी वेरी क्लियर इज दैट द मिस्टेक लाइज एट इंडिगो एंड देयर मैनेजमेंट, हाउ दे हैव done the roster, how they have managed the operations. So that is the first mistake that they have done.
So you're putting the blame on IndiGo, but sir मैं अगर पूछूं क्या DGCA सो रहा था? नवंबर के महीने में 750 disruptions हुआ करते हैं. Many flights of IndiGo itself
that is
were cancelled. You see, what was the Ministry of Civil Aviation and more importantly the DGCA, which is the regulator, doing? उनकी कोई जवाबदेही नहीं. I'm not saying that IndiGo does not have responsibility, but आपकी और more importantly DGCA नवंबर के मंथ में क्या सो रहे थे कि suddenly December 4th को पता चला बाप रे IndiGo is not observing the flight duty time limitation.
See Rajdeep ji, one thing what we were doing in November, and the fact that you have taken November comes from the point that November 1st से FDTL norms नए वाले guidelines अमल हुए
जी.
November 1st के बाद जो छोटे छोटे cancellations उनके हो रहे थे, we were continuously in discussion with them, and then there was a good phase within November when there were no cancellations at all. They were operating well within the average cancellations that usually happen, and then suddenly it was definitely shocking to us also, because let me also place the facts that on 1st of December we have had a meeting through DGCA with IndiGo regarding the FTTL norms where they wanted clarifications. We have given them the clarifications, but they never mention that so-and-so issue is there with us. So again, I would like to highlight that this was totally IndiGo's mistake. We were quite watchful. We were taking care of all the operational oversight. We were ensuring that things were normal, and we gave them multiple opportunities. Had there been an incident like this supposed to be happening, you can come to us, discuss with us and do it. Why have they not done it on 1st of December that was there?
You see, I'll tell you what the speculation is.
Or you want us to daily monitor internal operations of IndiGo, how they are doing it. As a regulator, we are looking after the safety. What is the job of IndiGo here? We are the regulator here. We give safety norms so that the pilots have a good safety looked after. Their fatigue is looked after. Why did we bring the FDTL norms? Because we care about the safety. We care about the safety of the crew. We care about the safety of the passengers. So that is our intention. And then, when we decide that we are going to bring it, it is our responsibility to talk to the stakeholders. Airline से हमने बात करी, सबसे करी, सब अमल कर रहे हैं. Everyone is following it. And these IndiGo also said that we are complying with it and we don't have any problem. Even then you want us to look into their roster every day and take over the operations, then there is no point having their senior management or anyone at IndiGo. Let us handle all the airlines in the country itself. Do you agree with that?
मैं आपसे सीधा पूछ रहा हूँ, आप क्या मुझे कह रहे हैं कि सडनली जब आप सुबह उठे 3 या 4 दिसंबर को, you were taken by surprise कि 1600 फ्लाइट जो 5 तारीख को पिछले फ्राइडे कैंसिल हुए, वर यू टेकन बाय सरप्राइज? या आपको लगा नहीं कुछ तो होगा, लेकिन हमने सोचा कि इंडिगो की जवाबदेही है, इंडिगो विल मैनेज इट. डिड इंडिगो टेक द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड द मिनिस्ट्री फॉर अ राइड? ये सवाल डायरेक्ट है.
ये सवाल आंसर करने के लिए अभी टाइम बाकी है मेरे पास. ये कि गवर्नमेंट को राइड पे लिया है, आर दे आर्म ट्विस्टेड? दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन व्हिच आई एम स्टिल आंसरिंग. आई एम इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ आंसरिंग. Because here the tussle is not between the government and the airlines. It is not between me and the IndiGo. There are people involved. There are people who are relying on these airlines who want to travel across the country from point A to point B. It is my responsibility to take care of them also. It is my responsibility to normalize the operations, look at the stability of the operations, and then I am doing an inquiry on IndiGo also how this has happened. And the question that you asked, it is utterly shocking that suddenly on one day that this situation happens. Even though 2 days back they have met DGCA regarding FTTL and they don't even mention about this.
तो was it deliberate? क्या आपको लगता है कि इंडिगो को या तो लगा कि यार मिनिस्ट्री कुछ करने नहीं वाली, DGCA चलते रहेंगे ऐसे, फरवरी चली जाएगी, we'll be okay. Was it that? Or were you, I come back to it, were you taken for a ride by IndiGo?
ये दोनों का मैंने पहले ही बोल दिया. इसका जो आंसर है वो इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ हम लिखने के प्रोसेस में ही है. इसका जरूर हम समाधान देंगे और ऐसा समाधान देंगे कि कोई आगे आप या कोई और देश में कोई नहीं पूछे कि मिनिस्ट्री को राइड कर लिया किसी ने.
It will never happen
It
again.
will never happen again.
ये गारंटी आप दे रहे हैं सब पैसेंजर्स को, it will never happen again.
अगर ये मैं नहीं करता तो मैं क्यों रहूं इधर? I am the minister of this country taking care of this aviation sector, and it is my responsibility to ensure that this doesn't happen. And the reason why it has happened is to be found out also. And that is why we have put an inquiry behind this.
मैं इसलिए आपको पूछ रहा हूं, मैंने एक बड़ा अच्छा फोटो देखा. I saw a nice photograph of the IndiGo CEO, Mr. Ivers doing namaskar to you. Was he seeking your apology कि हमें क्षमा कर दीजिए, माफ कर दीजिए, या कि ये केवल ऑप्टिक्स था, आपको न्यूज़पेपर की हेडलाइन चाहिए थी, मिनिस्टर सीक्स अपॉलॉजी फ्रॉम इंडिगो सीईओ? ये फोटो के पीछे असलियत क्या है? व्हाट इज द ट्रूथ बिहाइंड द फोटो ऑफ द सीईओ वर्चुअली apologizing to you? Did he apologize?
Rajdeep ji, I'm glad that you have asked about this thing. He was folding his hands. He was seeking an apology, but not to me, but to the people of this country, which is duly deserved also. He has to apologize to the people of this country. I'm just a public servant. It is not me he is apologizing to. He was apologizing to the people of this country, which was duly necessary.
You see, because I also, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, एक statement आई है that you have said that you will sack the IndiGo CEO. And I'm not able to understand. Can government of India sack a private company CEO? That is for the board of IndiGo to do. Is it, ये भी क्या public को खुश करने के लिए minister is saying, don't worry, I will sack the CEO, when actually you have no powers to sack the CEO of IndiGo?
Rajdeep ji, again here, there has been no precedent in these kind of incidents. And definitely there is a rule of law through which we can act. But here we have to consider the kind of disruptions that have happened and the distress that the people have gone through. And if I've said, you have to reconsider my statement here, I have said that if it comes to the point where there is found that due to the negligence or due to the inability of people in the senior management, or let it be a certain position, if it was their inability to act upon this or their mismanagement of this, then definitely we will take up action of that regard in the interest of the people. We will not hesitate. That is exactly what I said.
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि अगर आपको लगे कि इंडिगो ने ये डिलिबरेटली किया या उनकी नेग्लिजेंस थी, लापरवाही थी, तो आप इंडिगो को कहेंगे प्लीज सैक योर सीईओ, सही?
Yes, definitely. In the interest of the public, we will talk to the airlines regarding it. Let the inquiry report come out. Let it tell us where exactly the problem lies. Why have IndiGo, who have been running excellent operations for the last 20 years, this is not a new airline that has come into the block. They have been running optimal, best OTP operations for the last 10 years. Suddenly you are seeing that one single day, everything is falling down. Then who is responsible for this within IndiGo itself? Let us look into it. Let us study that.
And what about DGCA? उनके रोल पर कोई क्वेश्चन होगी कि through the month did DGCA perform the role, or are you giving DGCA a clean chit?
Rajdeep ji, I have already told you, through the month of November, DGCA has been actively involved in making everyone comply with the FDTL norms. And not only this, even before, because the primary responsibility of DGCA is look after safe operations in the country. When we felt that FDTL norms need to be implemented, we have thoroughly consulted all the stakeholders. This has been happening for a long time. We wanted all the airlines to be on board. We have given them ample time to ramp up their operations to get their compliance for this. IndiGo has given their compliance. After November, 1 month later, in December, we have met with IndiGo. I'm trying to make this point again and again because look at the time. Just 2 days before, IndiGo has met DGCA regarding this. They have asked IndiGo, do you have any other questions regarding FTTL, any other problems? And they never mentioned this.
तो आप इंडिगो के बोर्ड को क्या कहेंगे? बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स टुडे द चेयरपर्सन विक्रम मेहता हैज गिवन अ स्टेटमेंट वेयर ही डज नॉट सीम टू सजेस्ट कि इंडिगो ने कोई गलती की है. He has given lots of other reasons. Apology दी है passengers को, but he is not directly accepting that IndiGo in some way did not prepare for these new FDTL norms. क्या कहेंगे बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स में इतने बड़े-बड़े नाम्स हैं, क्या कहेंगे उनको आज?
राजीव जी, मैंने भी उनकी बात सुनी है. He doesn't answer many of the questions, pertinent questions which are still going around. IndiGo के 6 महीने से उनके pilots freeze पे क्यों थे? उनका जो लेना था the employment, or
6 months no pilot hiring.
Yeah, no pilot hiring. And then the fact that third को let us suppose that the operations were going for a toss. then why should they not inform the people whose flights were getting cancelled beforehand so that they don't come to the airports? Who was managing that and why did that incident happen like that? अगर उनको पता था पहले से delays हो रहे हैं, cancellations हो रहे हैं, कुछ ठीक से वो operation crew के वो manage नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, then why did they let that situation come to that point where they were saying that flights are operating, you please come to the airport? So all these questions are not answered. So I'm not just relying on what the statement he has made, which is why exactly we have put a 4-member committee from DGCH to know all the answers. And once we have the committee report, then definitely we are going to move into action.
इस ऑडियंस में कई पैसेंजर्स हैं जो अभी भी विंटर मंथ से क्रिसमस आएगा, न्यू ईयर आएगा, वो कई जगह जाना चाहेंगे. In those days, look at what happened, Mr. Minister. Other airlines took advantage. 5,000 की टिकट 30,000 में बिक रही थी. Fares were going out of control. Eventually, you capped it 48 hours later. आज इंडिगो कह रहा है हम 10,000 का ट्रैवल वाउचर देंगे. ये क्या हुआ? 10,000 का ट्रैवल वाउचर देंगे. इतनी परेशानी हुई लोगों को, उसका कुछ नहीं. And you also moved 48 hours late. You should today tell the जिन्होंने ज्यादा पैसे दिए predatory pricing करके, what will you do about it today?
We are
जनता जानना चाहती है, they want their money back.
Rajdeep ji, we are analyzing each and every aspect of the crisis. Right from the beginning, we have been thoroughly involved in managing the crisis and providing the best relief to the passengers. It started by the people who were stuck at the airport that as soon as possible, let us get them to travel to their destinations. Whoever are there at the airports, let them get good access to food, water, and accommodation if necessary. Once that has been done, once the airports have been cleared, let us send the communication to the cancelled flights, the passengers who are taking the cancelled flights, that let them not come to the airport. Your flight has been cancelled. And if you want a refund, if you want a rebooking, let it be done without any further cancellation charges. Now, all this has been done. And on top of that, when we found out exactly that this incident is happening, never has it been done before. For the first time, we have capped the prices with slabs. Accordingly, across the country to all the airlines, we have done it. And what you're mentioning for this specific time, we are analyzing each and everything. Give us some time. We are going through each and every step. We have a focus of passenger-centric approach that the passenger who wants to travel, let him get the first priority, and we are moving in that direction.
मैं इसलिए पूछ रहा हूं because there is a sense that this sector has become a duopoly. 60-65% market share IndiGo का, 25-30% Air India Vistara, and they are using this to squeeze the consumer. We saw it during Kumbh Mela also. Suddenly, flight fares to Prayagraj doubled overnight. That the market itself now, consumer is last. Today you are saying, I care about the consumer. Airlines don't care about the consumer because a passenger has no choice today. Do you accept that somewhere that is something you are going to have to look at? How do you end these monopolies and duopolies that you have created? Rahul Gandhi ने कहा कि ये सब कुछ जो हो रहा है monopolies की वजह से हुआ है. How will you respond?
I don't know how much economies he understands around civil aviation, but one thing that we need to clarify here is that this is not a created situation by any kind of government. The fact that we have deregulated the fares, and when have we deregulated the fares? Any idea, Rajdeep ji? 1994 Corporation Act, Air Corporations Act has been repealed so that the deregulation comes into effect. There are airlines who can enter freely, they can understand the market, and the market dynamics of supply and demand can play its own role. And it is from then the markets have been deregularized, and this is a practice which is followed internationally. And what we are trying to do is encourage more airlines to come into the picture. You say that, do I encourage monopoly or duopoly? Definitely not. Not because this incident has happened now. I've been talking about this for the past 1 year. Look at the demand of civil aviation in the country today. There are 5 lakh people traveling every day by civil aviation, air travel in the country, which is nowhere in the world except for 2 other countries. That is the kind of demand that we have set today. And when you have this kind of demand, we want more players to come in. I have clearly said we need 5 airlines with at least 100 aircrafts each for 1 airline. And from the government, we are trying to create this kind of situation where we encourage more airlines to come in.
Sir, because figures suggest that domestic air passenger traffic will double in the next 6 years, reaching nearly 300 million by the end of 2030. So, bahut traffic hoga. How are you going to get those 5 players? Our aviation turbine fuel is among the highest in the world. People do not want to, many of the foreign airlines don't want to even do the refueling in India because their fuel prices are too high. The fact is there are structural issues. Kisko leasing di hai, kisko kaun si route di hai. IndiGo got all the preferential routes. Itne saalon se IndiGo ki, somebody was blessing IndiGo. whoever that someone was, whether in your ministry or government of India. Suddenly the chickens have come home to roost and you have realized, चलो 5 airline की जरूरत है. इतने सालों से आप क्यों नहीं ला पाए 5 airline? एक के बाद एक इस country में airline बंद हुए हैं. From Jet Airways, airline should be expanding.
इसका भी मैं समाधान देता हूं. जो airlines है, जो encouragement हम देना चाहते हैं, considering you have touched many points. So it is not a single one-lane approach that if you want to bring in more airlines, this is exactly what we want to do. But our first priority has been the kind of demand that has come in the country, facilitate for that demand through whichever airline is there. And IndiGo took it as a business opportunity for them and they expanded. Not that we have restricted other people for coming. Whatever demand has been created through their business plan, they have expanded at that rate. And whereas considering other players also, you should also know that in the last 6 years, we have very small players also which have come in. There is Star Air, there is Fly 91, there is India One Air. There are people who are trying to enter the market and we are facilitating for them. It starts with offering them good routes, good slots at the airports, and also what you're talking about leasing. We should also understand that today all the big airlines, they are not buying the planes anymore. They are leasing the planes. 85% of the planes today in India are being leased. And what are we doing about it? From the government, we have seen that leasing is the industry that we need to focus. So we have passed a bill in the parliament. We have made an act which brings the compliance score for leasing also. This is exactly what we are doing. Now, because the incident has come up and then you're just looking at how many airlines are there, but the effort from the government has always been that we need to have more airlines in the spectrum. And that is a continuous approach that we will have. I have already given NOC for 3 different players to come into the industry. And the bottleneck, the real bottleneck, which everyone has to understand here, is the availability of planes. The planes that are getting manufactured across the world, they are not being able to do it at that speed at which the orders are being made. India has the highest number of orders in the whole world. 1,700 planes are still under order. And we are continuously waiting for those planes to come in. It is not that nobody wants to enter into this business. People who have entered into the business, they are not able to get planes at that fast rate. So there are multi-pronged approach that we require and the approach from the government. Another one that I want to make here, there is maintenance aspect also. You need to do MRO for the planes. Just like how you maintain your car or any other vehicle, the plane has to be maintained. And these engines which need maintenance, all the MROs have been happening outside the country. When you send them outside the country, you're losing on forex, you're losing on the time, and that is an additional burden for the airlines. And who is bearing that cost? The passenger is bearing that cost. But for the first time, I'm very proud to say this, that Safran, which is a French company, has set up its shop in Hyderabad, where they are going to maintain at least 1 plane per day, which is going to reduce the cost, which is going to reduce the time. And these are all the things which are going to help us to bring more airlines into the picture.
The reason I'm asking this, आप लोग airport infrastructure बढ़ा रहे हैं. Udan has taken aviation to small places, which is a very good sign. Airport infrastructure has qualitatively improved. But it's one thing to have the infrastructure on the ground. It's another thing to have the airlines that will be able to cope up with this additional burden. That's the point, that this mismatch somewhere got caught up. As you said, IndiGo did not increase the number of pilots. And many pilots have told me off the record that it was working as if hum bandua mazdoor hai. We are bonded labor. Now, I want to understand, are you very clear that you are here to protect the interests of the pilots and the passengers, or the interests of the big corporates who are driven by greed? मुझे नहीं करने pilot hire नहीं करने because I want to show my profitability. All these companies want to show their profitability rather than care about the pilots or the passengers.
Let us not go around in a cycle again. Do we care about the passenger? Do we care about the airlines? Or do we care about the pilots? I've been very clear that I care about the passengers. That is my first priority. Once we do that, whatever comes in that ecosystem, we'll start addressing all the issues. The pilot safety, definitely a major issue. We have brought in the new FDTL. We are respecting their fatigue situation, and we have brought in the guidelines.
This FDTL will remain in place, sir? This FDTL will remain in place because you have given some kind of leeway, it seems.
The leeway, whatever the exemptions we have given, is in a way to reboot the operations for IndiGo so that all their operations get normalized immediately. Because there were a lot of people who are depending on the airlines also, on the civil aviation to travel. This is a holiday season right now, and it is very important for us that whatever the actions within IndiGo have been done should not be penalizing the passengers ultimately. Even if it was a situation which was created for 2-3 days, let us normalize the situation, bring the stability in their operations so that people can travel first.
So the FDTL norms will stay in place, they will come into effect.
They are in place, everybody is complying with it. The IndiGo, the exception is temporary till February 10th. We have asked them for a plan to finish their thing, whatever they need to ramp up their operations by February 10th. If they do it before, then we are going to remove the exemptions before itself.
And in that period, आपने उनका 10% flight operations cut किए हैं.
Yes.
Is that also going to be permanent or is that only a temporary penalty कि आपने, it's like a student who has failed in the exam कि उसको थोड़ा नकल पर मार दो, after that public will forget. 2 months later, they will be back to normal.
You have to also understand, Rajdeep ji, that this is a IndiGo mistake. So the other airlines who are following shouldn't also feel that they are getting an undue advantage. So as a deterrent also, we have cut down 10% of their operations. Let them come back to us with a proper explanation when they can handle more flights. Then accordingly, we are going to give them their routes.
There are a lot of reports that even the DGCA, sir, is understaffed and that you don't have enough people. This also came up during flight safety when this terrible air crash took place in the month of June in Ahmedabad, that many of the key areas in this country are understaffed at the moment. What are you doing about staffing?
We have hired 190 people in the last 4 months, and the understaffing comes from the point that the DGCA, the major vacancies that have been listed right now is due to the restructuring of the DGCA that happened 2 years ago. And once the restructuring happened, once the post came into being, then immediately we have gone into the recruitment process. But you have to also understand that civil aviation is a very technically sound subject. You need to have the experts being into this in those specific positions. It is not an easy way of recruiting people. You have to go through a thorough and rigorous process to do that. And also whatever is the bureaucratic process of going through the UPSC or the SSC, that also the thorough verification, everything takes time. But we have been stressing on this, that we need to be doing this at a very fast rate. And that is why in the last 4 months, we have addressed 190 of them. And in the later stages also, definitely we are going to focus on this and do the maximum recruitment within the DGCA. But while saying this, I should also say that nowhere with the staff that we have right now, we are efficiently deploying them in such a way that never has any safety norm being compromised on the ground.
Amit Bharadwaj covers civil aviation. Amit, you have a question. Go ahead.
जी, आपने जब हमारी शनिवार को बात हुई थी उससे लेके अब तक 5 दिनों में इंडिगो के ऊपर कई सारे एक्शन हुए हैं. ये बात मैं नोट करते हुए ये सवाल आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपने खुद कहा कि बीते 6 महीने से इंडिगो ने एक भी हायरिंग नहीं की. ये फैक्ट डीजीसीए को पता था. उसके बावजूद जब नए एफडीटीएल नॉर्म्स लागू हुए तो क्यों डीजीसीए ने उनको ये नहीं कहा कि आप पायलट्स हायर कीजिए, और बजाय पायलट्स हायर करने के इंस्ट्रक्शन के डीजीसीए ने विंटर शेड्यूल में उनको फ्लाइट्स बढ़ाने की परमिशन दी. यानी कि आप ऑलरेडी क्राइसिस में थे, आपने क्राइसिस एग्रवेट होने की एक अपॉर्चुनिटी वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं दरवाजे खोल के दिए.
ये उनके साथ ये बात हुई थी. DGCA has thoroughly been discussing with them that whatever necessary changes that you need to do in your internal pattern of having the crew or any other additional things that you need to do, you need to do. Only after that the compliance has been taken. You should also understand, ये देने से पहले, विंटर शेड्यूल देने से पहले, ये FTTL नॉर्म्स से पहले, ये कंप्लायंस एयरलाइन से खुद लिया गया था कि ये लोग ये नए FTTL के साथ उनके सारे ऑपरेशंस चला सकेंगे. जब इंडिगो को कॉन्फिडेंस था कि वो लोग चला पाएंगे, और इसमें ये बात भी ध्यान में लेना पड़ेगा कि पिछले 20 साल से इसी तरह वो चला रहे थे. जब भी कभी भी कोई इंसिडेंट होता है, इंडिगो इज द फर्स्ट वन टू कम फॉरवर्ड एंड से दैट वी हैव सेट एवरीथिंग इनटू नॉर्मलसी. They were the first responders on every incident, and from the airline's point of view. And it was expected that as being a big airline, primary airline, they are going to do all these things. And we have thoroughly done many stakeholder consultations with them, IndiGo, on many aspects, including this employment also, including their crew rostering. Everything was thoroughly discussed. After that, they have given compliance. After that, we had meetings. After the implementation also, again coming to the point that 1st December also we had another meeting regarding this, but it was a mistake from the point of
in a sense,
IndiGo.
So you're not going to accept that you got caught off guard or that you were sleeping at the wheel. Not you, but the whole system was sleeping at the wheel and IndiGo took advantage of it.
No, definitely in that sense, what we are trying to do here, one, we have an inquiry on IndiGo also. We are going to inquire into our own this thing. on where could it have been wrong in the point of monitoring, that this could have been avoided from our side also. Definitely we are going to do that.
Okay, go ahead, Amit.
दो छोटे सवाल हैं आपसे। एक तो ये कि जो इंडिगो ने अपना रेस्पॉन्स डीजीसीए को सबमिट किया था, उसमें उन्होंने माइनर टेक्निकल ग्लिचेस से लेके एडवर्स वेदर कंडीशन जैसे कारण गिनाए हैं। मैं जानता हूँ डीजीसीए इस पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रहा है, लेकिन बतौर मंत्री क्या ये आपको रिडिकुलस किस्म का रीज़न नहीं लगता है, या कम से कम एक्सक्यूज़ के तौर पे नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि बाकी एयरलाइंस अफेक्ट नहीं हो रहे हैं, ट्रेन्स अफेक्ट नहीं हो रहा है एडवर्स वेदर कंडीशन की वजह से। इकलौता इंडिगो भारत में एयरलाइंस बना जिसके पूरा का पूरा सिस्टम कोलैप्स कर गया इन रीजंस की वजह
नहीं,
से।
डेफिनेटली एक शॉकिंग वो है कि जो भी रीजंस वो देते हैं वो आमतौर पे वो ठीक नहीं लग रहे हैं, क्योंकि इंडिगो बीइंग सच एन एक्सपीरियंस्ड एयरलाइन, दे शुड हैव बीन टेकन good care of this beforehand itself. So this is why whatever they are saying, whatever excuses they are giving, whatever explanation they are giving, we are not only relying on it, we are doing our own thorough inquiry within the DGCA. So let us wait for the facts through our inquiry report. Then we are going to discuss on this.
Okay, you're the youngest minister, Mr. Minister in the Union Cabinet, and I heard that you had a baby. You're a father now in August 2025. I knew his father, Mohan Naidu, so that ages me. But many congratulations on fatherhood. Are you getting more sleepless nights because of your new baby or because of flight cancellations? Flight cancellations की वजह से आपके sleepless nights है या baby की वजह से?
Baby के वजह से तो नहीं है, because of my wife, she is taking care of them very good and she is giving me the space to handle this ministry. Then sleepless nights, definitely last 7 days have been very tough for me also handling this kind of situation. But one thing, I don't think my sleep is very, very important here. My focus has been on the passengers and on the situation. So definitely I wanted to be that in front, have the in front approach on the situation, deal with this crisis, get the best approach forward for the passengers. So it is with that mode that I function.
You know, the reason I'm asking you this is because many believe that सब मंत्री डरते हैं कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी का फोन आएगा और कहेगा क्या हो रहा है आपके मंत्रालय में। मोदी जी का फोन आया कि नहीं जिस दिन, खास करके because this happened on the day that the Russian president was in town. So there was chaos apparently in the skies and there was a big meeting going on the ground. So did you get a call from the Prime Minister?
He and his team,
Mohan Naidu, what's going on?
He and his team have been thoroughly following up the situation and taking full updates on this. And their immediate and important focus has always been on the passengers, to take care of the passengers, to reduce their inconvenience at the airports, to give them all the facilities that are required, and then inquire into why this has happened.
But you are admitting that the passengers suffered. You're saying that
absolutely.
You're admitting
absolutely,
today. So do you want to apologize to them just as...
I am thoroughly apologizing as a minister. As a minister of this country, I have told again and again that I have no ego. I am responsible for this sector. I am responsible for what happens at the airports. I am responsible for the airlines, what they do. So definitely,
okay,
definitely.
Yes, Sahil.
मैं एक बार फिर जो पूछा गया था पहले उसी पर मैं आपको ले जाना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि ये बड़ा एक डेंजरस ट्रेंड यहाँ पर नज़र आ रहा है कि एक बड़ी एयरलाइंस जिसे सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने डायरेक्टिव्स दिए हुए हैं कि आपको 1 नवंबर से वो सारे डायरेक्टिव्स इंप्लीमेंट करने पड़ेंगे। हाई कोर्ट ने उनको डायरेक्टिव्स दिए हुए हैं। सो दैट मीन्स उनको पता था कि ये उनको इंप्लीमेंट करना है। कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा लग रहा है कि जानबूझकर ये चीज़ें की गई। प्राइम एफेसी इस तरीके की चीज़ें दिख रही है। आपने कमेटी रखी हुई है जो इसका पूरी जांच वगैरह करेगी। अगर उसमें इंडिगो दोषी पाई जाती है कि उन्होंने ये जानबूझकर किया, क्योंकि जो कारण वो दे रहे थे वो सचमुच में रिडिक्यूलस लग रहे थे, वो 4-5 फ्लाइट्स अगर डिले होती है तो कोई समझ सकता है, तो क्या उन पर कार्रवाई होगी? नंबर 1। और नंबर 2, आपने जो राजदीप सवाल पूछ रहे थे कि नए एयरपोर्ट्स बनाए गए कई जगह पे, लेकिन ये भी देखा जा रहा है कि जितने फैनफेयर में उन एयरपोर्ट्स का उद्घाटन हुआ है उतने वो एयरपोर्ट्स यूज़ नहीं हो पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि उसके आसपास कोई डेवलपमेंट नहीं है, कोई ज़्यादा फ्लाइट्स वहाँ पर वर्कआउट नहीं हो रही है। ऐसे कई एग्जाम्पल हम दे सकते हैं। तो उसके लिए क्या किया जाएगा?
Two quick questions.
So 2 quick questions. The first thing, definitely I am saying again and again that any kind of action that is required based on the incompetence of the senior management within IndiGo, we won't hesitate to take any kind of action. We will definitely take whatever action is there. We want to follow due process here. We have a rule of law on this land, so definitely we are going to do. And for the second question that you have, we are not only preparing the airports for today, but for tomorrow also. We are doing the airports. Again, the constraint here is that planes that we have today are not ample enough to connect all the airports across the country. There are some prime routes where there is more demand. There are some sectors where there is less viability in those routes, which is exactly why we brought the UDAN scheme. We are finishing 10 years of the UDAN scheme, and the government is extending the UDAN scheme for another 10 years, which is going to facilitate for the connectivity of the unserved and underserved airports in the country, especially in these Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So I can definitely tell you today that as this situation improves in terms of the aircraft fleet improving in the country, definitely we are going to connect all the unconnected airports also.
You know, I want to ask you one final question. We've often found in governments in general, but this government also, ministers don't want to take accountability. Rail accident hua, everybody speaks about it except the railway minister, and this is true of many ministries. First of all, I'm glad.
I don't agree with that.
No,
And I'm also an example.
No, so
I'm part of the government.
No,
I'm part of the ministry.
Let me pay you a compliment. Let me pay you a compliment. Ki you are an exception, in my view. Ki you have actually come to address questions, and I think this audience appreciates the fact that a minister is come and is ready to take questions without. So I want to ask you this very clearly. That given the fact that you are answering the questions, do you believe that that should be the policy followed? Next time there's a rail accident, I should be allowed to question the railway minister in the same way that today I'm questioning Mohan Naidu? Or is it because you are younger, thodi energy aapki zyada hai, that's why you are willing to come in front of the camera?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I won't comment on how other people are asking, but that has never been the idea of the government. बट एक चीज़ अगर आपको लगता है कि मैं ये टफ क्वेश्चंस को फेस कर रहा हूँ, आपको यहाँ सामने बैठ के आपके पूरे क्वेश्चंस को मैं आंसर कर रहा हूँ, ये ओरिजिनेट करता है हमारी स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी हिमसेल्फ. आई एम लुकिंग एट हिम एंड फंक्शनिंग हियर. द स्ट्रेंथ दैट आई हैव, द विजन दैट आई हैव, इट एमिनेट्स फ्रॉम हिम. द काइंड ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन दैट ही गिव्स मी is what you are seeing here.
No, he won't
in this crisis.
He won't take the same tough questions from me that you do.
तभी मेरे को रखा है ये civil aviation ministry में to handle this kind of situation. Why did Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji have one of the youngest people handling this sector? Because he believes in the youth of this country, and I am exactly doing that. Okay. The kind of confidence that he has created. And the other thing that I want to mention here, you would know this more than me. I come from TDP, and my mentor is Chandrababu Naidu garu. And every single time, you would have seen that whenever there is a crisis, he is the first person to be there, handle the crisis right in front of the face, and create an opportunity out of it, and do the best that he can to the people of the country in a very accountable way. If the modus operandi that you had seen now, it follows the rule book of our Chief Minister and our leader, Chandrababu Naidu garu. So I have two sides of this, where Prime Minister Modi ji is there, who has his inspiring leadership, and my mentor, Chandrababu Naidu garu, is there. I take both of them as mentors, as guidance from them, and it is with that, as a young leader, that I am functioning today.
Okay, you know, we've met a minister who clearly knows the right thing to say in today's environment. He has
you will see that I have the right thing to do also.
Okay, okay. Mohan Naidu, for joining us here, and I hope that many of the passengers will feel a sense of relief from what you have said. We hope that the operations will normalize sooner rather than later. But it's good to have a minister who's come and taken all your questions.
I'll just take the last two lines.
Sorry?
I'll just end it with the last two lines. If you're trying to end it, I'll just want to say something else.
Bolo, very quickly.
So don't fear, everyone. This is the holiday season. Please travel. All the airports are normalized now. All the operations are stabilized. IndiGo, which was supposed to be functioning at 2,200 flights per day, we have brought it up to 1947 yesterday. And we are going to touch many more today. So things are back to normal. Whatever this incident has happened, definitely I am also deeply hurt for it. And I am trying to do the best we can so that this kind of situation doesn't come again. But here, you all have to realize that we have one of the safest and best standards for civil aviation across the world. We have one of the best standards, and we are going to carry on the momentum with which we have grown. And one thing I kind of missed saying while doing many interviews also, I'm just taking this opportunity to do it. While I have talked about the passengers, one thing I want the passengers also to be a little bit sympathetic about, I am also sympathetic about, is the ground staff that have been there. Even though they are with IndiGo, these people were also caught off guard. They didn't know from the senior management that there are going to be delays. They didn't know the communication that when the flight is going to take off, how many cancellations were happening. But the frontline staff at the airports who were wearing those uniforms, who have just families like us also, they were putting up a brave face. They were standing there, and you have seen how agitated the people were also at that time. But they were facing the situation in a very calm and composed way, trying to do the best they can. So I would like to take this opportunity to offer my best sympathies to them also. They have done a great job on the field, even though they had very little to do with this. I'm again putting the blame on the top senior management, but let us all collectively work here together. We have an excellent sector, civil aviation sector, which is definitely going to grow leaps and bounds. This has definitely been a scar, and we will come out of this in a much stronger way.
जोरदार तालियों के साथ धन्यवाद कीजिए मंत्री जी का। और अगला सेशन हम तुरंत शुरू कर रहे हैं। आप लोग बैठिए, तुरंत शुरू कर रहे हैं। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
You are watching India Today.
For me, good journalism is the truth well told. My philosophy was produce a good editorial product, the money will follow.
For me, India Today represented the discovery of India.